If you want to see behind the scenes of running a TikTok ad agency, join me and Kane right now on the Coach Yu Show. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of the Coach Yu Show, where we interview experts, doers that are sharing their expertise for real, step by step. You guys have been asking about TikTok ads, and today we're going to go behind the scenes talking to our friend Kane Lewandowski on what it's like running a TikTok ads agency. Welcome, Kane.
Thank you so much, Dennis. It's an absolute pleasure to be here.
Dude, it's so awesome hanging out with you. I've been seeing your content. You've been interviewed a ton of times on TikTok ads. But I want to ask you some questions that maybe you haven't been asked, and maybe go a little bit deeper for our audience, because we've got a lot of professionals, personal brands, and they hear a lot of conflicting things about TikTok ads. First off, what are the mistakes that you see of the people who switch from Facebook ads to TikTok ads?
The biggest thing, usually most of the time, is actually going to be the creative. I see Facebook ads managers putting the same creative from their Facebook and onto TikTok. And when they do that, the performance of the creative is usually terrible, to be quite honest with you. I've seen it multiple times. Very recently working with an e-commerce brand that does hair care, and they spent $160,000 in ad spend. And they had a strong background of Facebook, but they were trying to move to TikTok. So they got onto TikTok as Facebook ads manager, simply just took an ad from Facebook, put it onto TikTok. And when you do that, you could tell if a ad is native to TikTok or not, because of the black banners, because of, all that stuff on Facebook, just the whole dimensions are different. So that already hurts the click-through rate. Also, the video was actually very kind of salesy. It was meant to grab your attention, pull you in. And if someone sees it on TikTok, they're not going to be interested because they're going to know it's an ad. People aren't on TikTok to buy products. They're there to learn. They're there to be entertained. They're learning to get some type of value from what they're watching. So if you're pushing something that's basically saying, give me your attention, pay me, it's not going to work. People are going to scroll off. They're going to swipe away, and that's going to hurt your click-through rate. And in turn, your ROAS is going to go down, and it's going to be really bad.
Amen, man. Everything right on the bullet there. And I can tell that you know TikTok ads because of what you said there, and also because you focus just on TikTok ads in your agency, Virtual Spark. And you've been real deep on this for the last year. What have you learned about focusing just on TikTok ads?
So focusing just on TikTok ads has actually opened up a lot of opportunities for me, because first of all, it's so much more different than Facebook. Facebook is going to be a little bit more expensive. TikTok is definitely much cheaper. Cost per click on TikTok is basically cents on the dollar most of the time, anywhere from 5 cents up to 25 to, and then certain times 75, depending on what you're selling. But it's always going to be, most of the time, be able to outperform Facebook ads. So the most interesting thing has definitely been kind of that there's just a lot more opportunity there, because it's new. It's basically the Wild West still. And a lot of brands will just hop onto TikTok and they'll be like, okay, let's make an ad and then let's get impulse purchases, and that's it. It doesn't work like that on TikTok. Marketing is changing. Marketing is going to be less focused on getting people to make impulse purchases. You have to capture people's attention and then retain it for a longer amount of time. So through email, SMS, or just get people to follow you on your YouTube, Facebook, TikTok page, email. Any way that you could capture someone's attention and then nurture that relationship, and then that's how you're going to be able to make those sales. And TikTok is a beautiful place to do that. There's actually a case study, a very famous one, Jones Road Beauty, Bobby Brown's beauty brand, and they use this platform called Octane AI. And what they do is they send traffic from TikTok into this landing page that basically collects information, and all this personalized information then gets used to their email. So the brand is able to send out emails that are personalized to each person. And what happens is, first of all, the relationship between the brand and the customer is going to be nurtured. They're going to like the brand more. This is going to increase the average order value. It's going to increase overall performance of the conversions. And it's also going to decrease the cost per acquisition. So I don't remember the exact numbers, but I know there's a case study from Octane AI. And I think their average order value went from $60 to $90 by implementing this strategy, and their conversions were at 16%. So 16% of people that went through this funnel actually made a purchase. So definitely outperforming a lot of other Shopify sites out there that do 2 to 3 to even 5%.
Now, you specialize in beauty and e-commerce for TikTok ads, and I saw on your site that you guarantee a 300 to 500% ROAS. So how do you balance knowing that TikTok isn't for, buy my stuff right away, and it's about making things that don't look like ads, and nurturing the relationship and brand, but at the same time trying to drive ROAS?
Yeah, so I do specialize in beauty cosmetics. We do work with consumer goods, for example. We'll also pick up a little supplements here and there, but the main focus is definitely on the beauty niche and cosmetics. And usually products that could be your skincare for your face. All this stuff is can be pushed very well on TikTok. It's awesome because you always have a content creator and influencer showing off the product being used. So it's very simple. I'm sorry, I kind of just my brain is going at 99 miles per hour right now. Could you repeat that question one more time?
This is good. So how do you balance brand building, which is longer term, in the immediacy of trying to drive sales right now?
Oh, so I remember the question. It was, how do we recommend a 3 to 5x ROAS? We don't guarantee a 3 to 5x ROAS on TikTok directly. We recommend it with just all the systems, what we've seen works, and basically Gen Z-ifying landing pages, making sure everything works correctly, implementing the correct apps like Octane AI, just using them. For example, your numbers will go through the roof if it's used correctly. And I like to implement a lot of these strategies. I like to implement a lot of these partners. And this is what's going to increase your ROAS over a longer term. Because marketing isn't just about getting people to come in and making a purchase right away.
Yeah.
It used to work like that on Facebook, and it does work on TikTok. I've hit numbers as high as, once I had 33x. It was crazy. I don't know how it happened. Maybe it was a glitch, maybe it was a bug, but I like to say that it was my skill. But numbers like 3 to 5x are pretty common if you know what you're doing. But the biggest struggle with TikTok is usually kind of moving onto this new platform. If you're just a Facebook ads buyer, you have to learn kind of how people on TikTok think. You have to think about how to really structure creatives, what templates to use, and all of this. So people will say that TikTok and Facebook are totally the same thing. It's not different. They're totally opposites, to be honest with you.
That's like a Coke or Pepsi, Mac and Windows kind of thing.
Yeah, it really is.
So we were in a meeting with TikTok and they gave me a bunch of talking points they wanted me to say, which I ignored. And I'm gonna say whatever I want. I don't work for them. But they told me that 70% of all the ad dollars spent on TikTok ads were going to Spark ads. And then behind that were basically lead ads. And those two are the hot things that are occurring. And you mentioned with e-commerce doing lead gen, even though that's typically not what e-com folks do. So explain, what does that mean for you?
Yeah, so first of all, the numbers of 70% being spent on Spark ads, it's not really that surprising to me. I haven't heard that exact number. However, it's very likely that larger brands, so massive brands, I'm talking Nike, Apple, I don't know if they've actually been on TikTok, but definitely brands that are, I know Nike has, but I'm not sure about Apple, but brands that are larger, from large marketing budgets, sometimes all they will do is get an influencer, get a couple of influencers, and then run an ad through it, right? So it kind of makes sense to me. Their goal isn't always to make conversions because they have such big budgets. They could afford to lose money, and then they could follow up with retargeting campaigns, with email, with Facebook retargeting, because that's what companies do. Companies will actually take advantage of the cheap cost per click on TikTok, bring people onto your website, and then remarket with Facebook. So that's definitely what the larger companies are doing to take advantage, because on a real note, TikTok is fantastic for getting a new audience, for accessing a large amount of people for very cheap. But Facebook, as of right now, is still the king of remarketing. They collect much more information on people, way more. TikTok doesn't collect, household income. Facebook does. Right. So there's still, it's good. And I mentioned earlier that TikTok is even moving into real estate. So the lead generation market's definitely going to start to increase very soon on TikTok. So it's going to be really fun. And I've actually seen agencies collect leads on TikTok. So I've run my own lead generation campaigns, usually averaging from $3 to $7 cost per lead. So, but I'm sure I could get it down to 2.5. I was actually on a webinar, real estate webinar, and in it, they were showcasing a case study of this brand. They couldn't disclose the brand, but when they were advertising, they were collecting leads for $2.50 each cost per lead. I don't know where else could you get numbers that low for leads.
You could probably do it on Twitter, and you maybe do it on Reddit and some of these other places, but there's going to be a quality issue.
Exactly. Yeah. So
lead ad's super cheap because you get a 30% conversion rate because it's autofill. So we're getting $6 or $7 in real estate, but that's because we add an extra field qualifying them. Instead of just name and email, we're also asking, are you in the market, in the next 90 days to buy a house or something like that?
Yeah. And on lead gen forms on TikTok, you could also put in that extra step to really qualify them.
Yeah.
But What I assume they did is because $2.50 sounds very cheap to me. They probably just had, just the name, phone number, email. They didn't have any extra questions.
It's the automatic stuff. And then they're probably running $1 cost per click, 40% click the conversion rate. So that's their $2.50 lead. But then there's a quality issue. So great, you're getting leads for $2.50, but do they really convert? And then the question will be, to your other point, if we're collecting the email, are we nurturing them? So maybe our ads are great, but we're not following up. We don't have a strong enough nurture sequence. Maybe it doesn't send to a Calendly to book a 15-minute appointment or something like that.
Yeah, and you're right. And that only kind of shows off how it's important to have good front end marketing, but also really strong back end. If you're getting leads for $2.50, you still need to follow up with that. You need to follow up with, booking appointments, with calling them, sending them emails. And if you don't have any of that in place, all that money you spent, yeah, that's great. You got leads for $2.50, but they're not getting converted. So I definitely agree with that. The back end is very important. And that's exactly why I push very heavily on remarketing with email. But when I work with brands, I like to say, hey, let's throw away what you have with emails. Don't do the classic weekly email where you send out saying, hey, you have an offer that's like a limited time sale. We all know that's BS. It's not limited. You want to make that money. It's all BS, right?
That's
so
right.
All, these sales and marketing tricks, what I think is going to be the future of advertising, simply because, people's attention span they are getting shorter, and it's getting harder to retain people's attention now. So what you need to do is you need to provide more value, more content within your marketing operations. And then throughout your marketing, you have to kind of show off how a specific product, a service can be used to help your life, to help out you in one way, shape, or form. And at the end of the day, marketing is basically, how can I make my consumer, visitor, traffic, how can I get them to feel happy? That's basically the way I look at it. In the end of the day, you do something because it's going to make you happy.
So Kane, question about that, because we know that strong marketing is making the customer happy. Tell me if you agree with this or not. I believe that success in TikTok ads is more about the strategy that they have and how they identify the customer, their back end with their marketing, their email and sales follow-up, the analytics to track sales that occur through email and other channels, through remarketing that maybe started with TikTok but moved to other channels. And thus, I believe that even if you're really good at TikTok ads and you know the interface really well and you do everything possible within the business center and you work with the influencers and you get the content, I believe that that is like 10% compared to all the other components of business strategy. And thus, if those other components are not there, nothing you do will be able to overcome that.
Correct. I agree with that. That's exactly what I've been preaching. TikTok ads, it's basically your hook, right? And the reason why I think it's better than Facebook ads is because it's simply cheaper and it's a newer platform. The growth has been crazy for TikTok. Yeah. TikTok hit 1 billion users in I think 1 to 2 years. Facebook, it took 5 to 6. I'm not sure exactly on the numbers, so don't quote me on those, but I think that's what the numbers are. But anyways, the point is TikTok's growth has been crazy, right? And it's cheap. So, however, you still need to have strong marketing strategy, stuff on the back end. That's what I've been seeing. So
when you say cheap, how cheap is cheap? Because I remember last year, we were probably averaging $1.60 to $2 CPMs per thousand. So our cost per click was ranging anywhere from 20 cents to $1, depending on the category. And Facebook was maybe 4 to 5 times that. We were looking at, now on TikTok, we're probably seeing an average of $6 to $8 CPM, and our cost per click is 75 cents to $1 across all different categories. So still a third the cost on Facebook, because we're looking at $20 CPMs on Facebook and like $5 cost, $3 to $5 cost per click. So we're not seeing it as cheap as it was a year and a half ago. What are you seeing when you say cheap?
Yeah, so that makes sense. It's obviously not going to be as cheap as when there was less demand. There's going to be more demand now, and there's many more advertisers now, so that does make sense that price is going to fluctuate. 75 cents is definitely on the higher end. So I'd love to look in the back end, maybe kind of see how everything is. Do you do targeting, or do you just have it on automatic?
No, we're going straight for conversion optimization. And the thing that we've noticed is true on Google Facebook and TikTok is that with objective-based bidding, the AI is doing your targeting optimization. So when we're optimizing to a cost per lead or a cost per acquisition of less than a particular target, the CPC or CPM or whatnot might be really high, but the conversion rate will be really high. So the system's going to optimize for whatever we're getting the lowest cost per whatever our objective is. And often in going for the highest ROAS or the lowest cost per acquisition, the CPC and CPMs end up being a lot higher. And we see this on Google, Facebook, and TikTok. Curious to see if you see that as well. Because like we do look at CPC and CPM are great as sort of like check engine, like secondary, like diagnostic factors. But we think the most important metric is whatever the business metric is, like ROAS, cost per acquisition, lifetime value, that kind of stuff. Yeah. We can get super cheap leads. We can get super cheap CPMs and 20 cent cost, 15 cent cost per clicks. But then we have a low conversion rate and then we have low quality.
Yeah, and you're right. So basically what I'm trying to say is TikTok is an opportunity that's under leveraged. Businesses simply don't understand how to fully take advantage of it, right? But it's an awesome asset. And yes, it's 75 cents for cost per click. That's because you're running conversion. So obviously it's going to be a little bit more expensive. Yeah. So most of the time I actually run traffic, especially if I have to warm up a pixel. Then later on is when I actually move on to conversions and complete payment.
That makes sense. So then you're using remarketing for that. So are you using the web remarketing and email remarketing for TikTok?
Yeah, so we get people to come in for brands. They answer a bunch of questions through Octane AI quizzes. Sometimes, other brands will have different platforms for quizzes. And then once emails are captured, they will send out personalized emails. And that's how the bulk of the money is really made. But what I love about this whole strategy is people come into the website, answer a bunch of questions, and then once they get to the end of it, they put their email in. But once they put their email in, now they still get taken to a product page. They get maybe recommended a product. They could get sent directly to a product page. So now they can make the decision of if they want to buy it or not. So it's great. If they buy it, that's amazing. But if they don't, whatever, because we have your email information. So it's not a problem.
Yeah. So therefore larger LTV over a longer time frame, but maybe not the immediacy of sales, which is why it's cross-channel Octane. All right. So one thing that intrigued me yesterday, Kane, was you shared some screenshots of some of the performance. Maybe we could pull those up and talk about them, because we see a lot of people that want to talk generally about TikTok ads, make stuff that doesn't look like ads, understand that you can't just repurpose content, all that kind of stuff. But there's nothing like looking at the actual screenshot. So maybe we could look at that or look at other kinds of data and campaigns you want to share, and then kind of talk about what's working and what's not working.
Yeah, sure thing. I'm trying to quickly find that screenshot I have. Let me quickly pull it up. Okay, here we go. So the ROAS was actually 12, right? So this was a really good campaign for us. This was
share your screen.
Oh, share my screen. Okay, hold on. You see my screen?
Yep.
Okay, here we go. So the total cost is on the lower side. So we were trying to basically test out different methods. So I was actually very shocked to see these numbers. I mean, 12 ROAS is just crazy, no matter what platform you're on. So we were kind of like testing ideas, screwing around with different creatives and everything. But this basically, I sent this to you to show that, hey, there is potential to hit crazy high ROAS. If everything is done correctly, you can get people to make impulse purchases right off the bat. I still prefer to obviously include some type of, I always like to say Gen Z-ify for some reason. That's just like the term I like to use.
I like that.
Yeah, Gen Z-ify landing page, Gen Z-ify the whole approach of like, the marketing approach, because Gen Z, I'm part of Gen Z, and Gen Z, I know that me as a person, as a consumer, I hate seeing ads that are just basically, being like, hey, buy a product from me, buy a product from us. I hate that. Right? I want to be nurtured. I want to learn something. I want to be given some type of value before I make a decision on whether I want to buy or not. And that's kind of the approach, the mindset why, so heavy pushing content, pushing entertainment, pushing value before trying to push people to buy a product or service from you. Right? So it's kind of like a mix of like a B2B approach, because sometimes marketing agencies, in order to sell to other e-commerce brands, they like to be heavy on the content or on the value on the front end.
Right.
So I kind of took a little bit of that approach, and I kind of turned into my own approach with my age and everything from what I like, what works for me. So that's what I've been doing. And I think it works pretty well. So I'm going to keep doing it too.
So these are great. Now this happens to be low volume. So is this retargeting, or what is it that's driving? Because when you spend $7 and you have a 12 ROAS on one conversion, that could be statistical noise, right? And so we know things like remarketing are always going to be high ROI because it's a different audience. So give us some context around that one.
Yeah, so while I'm doing that, I'm going to see if I could share a couple more. So as a agency, Virtual Spark, so what we do is I get white labeled by other marketing agencies. So sadly, a lot of the really awesome numbers, I can't share any of those. Right. However, I will show the ones that I can share. Okay. So let me just find them.
White label, maybe we could white label to you. We got a bunch of them coming our way.
Yeah, I mean, but I guess I'm going to plug myself here. I've been on other podcasts and everything, and a lot of the time, when I'm talking to other agency owners, they're shocked when I reveal how much my prices are for what I do. So I'm gonna save that for later. What I'm gonna explain right now is basically what I do. So I do the media buying for agencies, right? And I hop onto sales calls, I consult clients, I basically help close them for you. Yeah. Right. So all you have to do is bring me on, I'll close them, and then we could worry about the TikTok ads stuff later. Yeah. And obviously I do the media buying, I close people, and I also source creatives. And my strategy of sourcing creatives, because the way it works the best is by finding people, influencers, content creators already with a following. That's what I like to do. I like to take advantage of this website called Gluey. It's an awesome app. I'm actually going to share it with you guys, and I'll actually show you guys how it looks and everything. So I like to source people from there. Once I get some influencers to kind of apply, I can then basically get them to make a video for me, right? And they post it organically, so that's already some additional authenticity. And then also that can also help generate sales. There's also obviously on TikTok, there's a chance of posts going viral, much more likely than any other platform. So that's really good. Yep. And obviously I also have full licensing rights to run it as a TikTok ad, Facebook ad, Instagram ad, whatever. So, which is really awesome. That's why I've been super heavy on this platform, Gluey, and that's what I'm going to share with you guys in a second. So I have I have to find more stuff. Oh, something that's really important that I would actually love to share before I forget. Okay. So I have to quickly cut this part out real quick. Okay, here we go. So this is actually a shocking number right here. So if we could quickly see this, believe it or not, one of the most popular questions I'll get when I'm talking to a business, an agency, they're going to be like, only 12-year-olds, 13-year-olds use TikTok. No, it's not true. I mean, yeah, of course they do use it. I think the number is 25% of all the people are under the age of 18. That's 25%. What about the rest of the 75%? And then here are the actual numbers for those percentages. So 32% of people 18 to 24, these are the Gen Zers. So I'm in this group right here. But most of the people that use TikTok are actually millennials, Gen Y, right? And this means buying power, right? Basically any number over 19 just starts to mean buying power. The older the person gets, the more buying power they have. And this was from the webinar. It's talking about the annual household income. So for example, right here, 51% of people that use TikTok are actually making above 85K a year. So, hey, if you're a brand, you better hop onto TikTok quick, because there's a lot of opportunity that's been untouched. There's a lot of brands that haven't even considered going onto TikTok yet. And then here's the more numbers, more statistics. So here we got females. There's more females than men. They use TikTok. And then
why is that?
I don't know. That's actually a very interesting question. I simply don't know. Maybe there's more. I don't know. I never really thought about it that much.
That seems wild, right? Because other social networks are closer to 50-50.
Yeah. But hey, it's good for me because I'm advertising beauty cosmetic brands, so this is perfect for me. So for me, it's whatever. And yeah, there's another number I'm looking for here. Something really interesting is that almost 50, I think 42% of Americans are actually on TikTok. So I'm trying to pull up that screenshot for you too.
Yeah. It's the #1 most popular site. It's ahead of Google.
It is ahead of Google.
And it has a higher watch time than Netflix and all these other folks, which is crazy.
Yes, and that's actually what I'm trying to find for you.
I already have that somewhere.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, so here's actually
put it in later. Yeah.
So here it is, right here. So this is just crazy to me. that TikTok, last time I checked, statistics back during probably the pandemic, the daily time spent on TikTok was around like 53, and now it's 80. It's crazy numbers. It's more than YouTube. People spend more time on TikTok than they do on YouTube, right?
Because they have multiple sessions. They have many sessions that are short sessions.
Yeah, that could be a reason.
Yeah.
But it's still crazy to me to even think about these numbers. I like how Twitter's all the way at 16 minutes. Yeah, sorry to say, but Twitter's starting to slowly fade away. And I think it's hilarious that Snapchat even has more time. Most people only use Snapchat to kind of just send pictures to each other and text each other.
Well, that's because it's chatting. Yeah, it's not actually. I don't consider that social media when people are chatting.
Yeah.
One-on-one chatting.
Yeah.
Like Skype, it's people spend a lot of time sending messages in Skype, but they don't count that as a social network.
Yeah. And you're completely correct with that too. But it's just
or Discord or what Slack or what they don't, those don't count.
Yeah, and I totally agree with that. But by the way, with the creatives, this is actually very important for me to share. Let me find another. So this is actually a very nice little presentation here. Wow, I'm coming up with presentations on the fly here for you. So
these are their slides though, right?
Yeah.
I love grabbing their slides.
I took them directly from a webinar yesterday. So being direct, you want to get straight to the point. First couple of seconds, that's how you want to establish a hook. Basically all this information. Something very important is videos that are high quality can sometimes do well on TikTok in certain niches and you have to be telling like a story or something, and it has to be like a cinematic experience, right? Mm-hmm. But if your ad is, for example, recorded on a DSLR and it feels like a classic ad you'll see on TV, people aren't interested in that. They'll just swipe off unless there's something interesting to go along with it. Mm-hmm. But the whole idea of lo-fi is just making videos literally on this piece of equipment right here on your phone. Yeah. That's all you need. Yeah. All you need to get a following on TikTok or even just build yourself out on the social media. Just make videos from your phone. It's that easy. And very surprising how most people actually haven't grasped onto that yet. And yeah, here you want to also, if you want to add captions to kind of enhance the experience, because there are people that will have their sound off. Most people on TikTok will actually have it on, but in some cases there are people that will have it off. So having captions, the app, I'm gonna put you guys onto some apps, to anyone listening, and even you, onto some apps that are fantastic to use for TikTok marketing or any type of purposes. So first of all, there's CapCut. CapCut is amazing for editing. If you post a video, you could basically just edit content there. There's many more editing options through CapCut, and it's free. It's also a more native experience because it's actually created by TikTok themselves, by Douyin. And so once you have that, it's a seamless experience. That's really good with the creative side, with making creatives, editing, and all that stuff. Something really good for all the people that are actually interested in actually advertising on TikTok. So first of all, I gotta pull up a new tab here. We should go to the TikTok Creative Center. That is a fantastic place for people to actually look into ads, study ads, and kind of see what works and what doesn't work. So I'm just gonna quickly pull that up right now, TikTok Creative Center. Oh, also another trick is you have to make sure that your ad block is off, and I have to turn my ad block off right now. Oh, speaking of ad block, it's actually very interesting because since most people are going to be using TikTok on a mobile device, they're not going to have ad block installed, which means that people are forced to see your ad, right? Because on YouTube, Facebook, people could be on their desktop or on their laptops, and they could have ad block installed, and they don't have to watch your ads anymore, right? But on TikTok, people are forced to. So it's really awesome. So I'm trying to get into the top ads here. Okay, it's just going to quickly load. All right, awesome. So I'm going to share my screen now. So this is a really good place to actually see ads that are performing well, and you could also filter them by objectives. So for example, campaign objectives by industry, by region, and many more selections. So this is a good place to kind of study, see what works, see what doesn't work. But these are the top performing ads, so you basically most of the time will want to copy. And if you notice, when we're scrolling through all of these are all shot on iPhone. None of them are professional. None of them are crazy professional. This one, for example, is basically edited on TikTok itself. It's where people have like a background with what's going on your phone, and then your face is actually on it. So this is really good. Something else I actually wanted to show is PyPy ads. which is basically it's a spy tool. It's a spy tool. You could look into people's ads. So here, for example, we got Byte, we got Tropica, a couple more.
Accurate?
I mean, I think it's accurate.
Advertisers?
Yeah. So basically, what happens is let's say we want to look into Byte. Let's click on this ad. So we're gonna click on it. It's gonna load up, and then it gives us information like how much did they spend. Here's an estimation because they don't know for sure.
Right.
So usually take the average of it, the information, all that stuff, like rate, blah, blah, blah. But the really cool part is you can also watch the video. And TikTok still hasn't made this for native within Creative Center. I hope they will. That'd be great. But this is actually a Chinese website, so they might have like a brand deal going on or something. I don't know. Okay. But something I really like is if you can actually look up people's ads. So Manscaped, for example, we're going to look them up. I should probably do advertiser name. So let me do that again. Okay, it popped up anyways. So here we go, Manscaped, and now we see a bunch of their ads that popped up, and now we could watch them. So clearly you see some videos are just guys getting shaved, and then some are girls. Their strategy, I've seen their ads multiple times where it's like the wife, the girlfriend is like, damn, like I like my guy being shaved down there. I recommend this product, for example. So this is a really good way to basically spy on your competition with TikTok ads. I better not see anyone using this on me. I see it happens a lot. Everyone spies on each other. The next, what else did I want to share? TikTok Creative Center, all that. Oh yeah, Gluey. So Gluey is the place to be for your influencers, for getting content, because a lot of people already know about platforms like Billow, for example. So you already got Billow. This is how Billow looks. You basically use them to make videos for your e-commerce brand or whatever. They're great, but they don't have like influencers or people that already have following. The Gluey does. So I use this platform, and it's really nice. It's basically the exact same system where you basically put your information in, you set up a campaign, then once all that information is there, influencers start to apply to you. And the cool thing is that you could find really big influencers for relatively very cheap prices, as low as $50. We're paying out sometimes to work with influencers $50, but obviously you have to send them a product, right? So they get paid with the product and they get paid with cash too. And something I really like.
Billow, basically.
But better because it's with influencers that already have followings. So for example, on Billow, you'll get a video and that's it. They're not going to post it on their social medias, but on Gluey they will, because they already have followings on TikTok. You can get them to post a video on multiple platforms, but most of the time I only get them to post it on TikTok. And then you have full licensing to run it as a TikTok ad, YouTube ad, Instagram ad. So in the long term, it's actually much cheaper than Billow is.
So are you mainly running it as a Spark ad on their profile, or just taking the creative and running it on your ad?
Yeah, so we could do either or. Depends on what the brand wants. Spark ads are amazing. The click-through rate usually is much better because people, when people are swiping through TikTok and they see a brand, they're like a business name, like a businessy name, they're going to know that they're going to be somewhat sold to at a certain point. Yeah. So people most of the time will just swipe off because whatever. And that's why click-through rate actually gets hurt. But if you have like a creator that's basically trying to provide some type of content, show a type of value, entertain you, people are going to be more inclined to stay till the end of the video. And once you get to the end of the TikTok ad is when people are going to be most likely to actually click on your call to action.
Yeah, that's just taking like testimonials or product reviews or whatnot from other people, and then instead of tying it to your ad account or running it as a Spark ad, just running it as a regular ad, which then of course has to drive to the website because it's not tied to an account. Do you think that's potentially spammy or something where, because when you're making ads on TikTok, you can choose what the profile name and profile image is each time. It doesn't have to necessarily be your company. So what if I were just to make off of my ad account, I create a Kane Lewandowski ultimate guide to TikTok ads, and I put your face and I put Kane Lewandowski as the name of it, and I drive to our landing page, or maybe the podcast, this podcast that we have.
Yeah, I mean, I hope no one gets an idea like that. I'm sure TikTok probably will have. They definitely have a review, for sure. I mean, let's think about it logically. It could be really bad. I mean, spammers could potentially, use other people's information. People
don't know that the ad account isn't tied directly to the profile. That's the interesting and smart thing about TikTok.
Right, but in order for TikTok to kind of let your ad go live. They're going to look at your landing page. They're going to look at all this information. So for example, if you just put up my name up there, my face and everything like that, but there's nothing to do with me on the landing page, and they're most likely going to flag it, suspend your account. They're not going to let you advertise it. So I think TikTok is pretty good with that. I mean, when it comes to medical terms, for example, if you have the word serum, you're going to get flagged, and they're not going to on your landing page, they're not going to let you advertise. So there's like a trick. You have to change it to gel instead of serum. So medical products like supplements, it's usually like a little gray area for me, because it's really fun to advertise those specific products. It's the creative process is definitely much more fun. However, the landing page is very important. You don't want to be making any medical claims.
Yeah. Amen. Well, other words of wisdom and cool gems, Mr. Kane?
Any cool stuff? That's a good one.
What else are awesome things we need to know?
Awesome things we need to know. I mean, I actually shared a lot. My whole strategy is basically, you know what? Screw it. I'm giving more information for free than what people charge for, and that's what I'm going to do right now. So if you want to build I'm going to spend my money and promote what you had to say, so people learn about Virtual Spark. Thank you. I appreciate that. So this is going to be this is the strategy. You want to build a $1 billion business. I can't say $1 billion business, but if you want to build, like, for example, if you're new to e-commerce, or you even have an existing e-commerce brand and you want to grow it, the strategy is focus on making content, entertainment with TikTok. That's going to be your hook. You pull people in. Once you have people on your website, figure out a way to capture their email, their SMS, their phone number, right? So you want to capture let's do this again. With TikTok, you want to use TikTok as your hook. You want to basically use it to provide some type of information, entertainment. You want to give value on the front end, and you're going to use this as a hook. Bring people into your landing page, your website, whatever your app. Once you have people on your site, you want to collect information like emails, phone numbers to use for remarketing. And you want to figure out a way where you can collect it in a way that's subtle, not spammy, where you want to basically say, hey, we're only collecting this information because we're not focused on selling you stuff. We're focused on making your life better. We want to give you advice for working out, for how to get rid of acne, how to not get razor bumps when you shave, something like that. You want to be providing some type of value that could be valuable to a customer, right? And then once you have this, like a good audience, you can remarket, and when you do the remarketing, you're basically going to be honest. You're going to be, personalized emails to each person. You could do all of this with Octane AI and Klaviyo, and build out sequences and everything. And basically every couple of emails, instead of doing like the classic 10% off sale, limited time only, don't do that. Within your videos or within your copy for the emails, say, hey, you could use this product, for example, it'll help your life out. If you have acne on your face, this is how you want to take care of your skincare routine. Stuff like that. I'm making stuff up as I go, but that's how you want to do it. Just deliver content in email. You want to nurture the relationships, and then eventually people will be like, okay, this is an authority within the niche for skincare. I'm going to buy from there because I trust them. It worked for me. It worked on me. So that's how I know it's going to work on other people. There's a lot of brands that are doing this really well. So for example, Jones Road Beauty does it very well in beauty. Another brand, HelloFresh, for food delivery. You answer a bunch of questions and they personalize meals for you. There you go. Another one is Geology, men's skincare. They're doing a fantastic job with that too. And there's other brands. But yeah, sometimes when I'm scrolling through TikTok, I'll be like, wow, this is a garbage ad. I'm going to be honest with you. It happens very often because I'm like, if I see an ad and I know they're trying to sell to me off the bat, then that's how I know that click-through rate is definitely not as good as the company should be. So my word of advice is, even if you're not interested in working with me or Virtual Spark, find someone to help you with TikTok as a consultant, a media buyer or something, because that little investment of hiring someone on the front end is actually going to save you hundreds of thousands of dollars. Because like I said, I worked with a brand not too long ago, spent 160 grand on TikTok ads before they even considered hiring like a specialist or anyone else. This other brand that I'm working with right now, they're spending $3,000, right, to get one person to buy a product for $300. So they're spending $3,000 and it's not like a loss leader product either. It's just there's no strategy there. It's just so if you're running into TikTok, if you're rushing into it, it's good to rush in, but it has to be a tactical investment.
Yeah, smart. So Kane, how do people find out about you?
How do people find out about me? On LinkedIn, on my website. Best place to reach out to me is actually on my LinkedIn, my email. My email is kane@virtual-spark.com. Is how you can email me. If you want to visit my website, it's www.virtual-spark.com. And if you want to talk to me on LinkedIn, get some type of free value from me or anything like that, I'm more than happy to talk you through how you could implement TikTok. I'm more than happy to help audit for free. That's all I do. Message me on LinkedIn, Kane Lewandowski. And I've been in this game for a couple of months. I'm not new to TikTok. I've been around the block. I even have YouTube videos. If you look up Kane TikTok ads on YouTube, you're actually going to see my some of my videos to show you that, hey, I've been around. And I actually built up a little following on Discord because I was actually helping small business owners, drop shippers, people that are new to e-commerce.
Yeah.
And I was teaching them on Discord. I think I worked with in the group I have I think around 150 people, and I know I worked with at least half of them. And it was an amazing experience because I got to help a lot of people out and jump on a new trend before bigger brands have been able to. So it's been awesome. I love TikTok, and if anyone wants to reach out to me, I am more than happy to give you my honest feedback, my opinions, and all my expertise. So feel free to reach out.
Ladies and gentlemen, Kane Lewandowski, founder of Virtual Spark. Reach out to him. Any questions on TikTok ads? Thank you so much for being on the Coach U Show.